Hello everyone, I'm Alexander Zeitlin and this is the Lockdown Lecture Series for Beginner Cello, adapted from the Alias Music Introductions course for the classroom setting. Let's jump into Lesson 4. So last time we used our scale to figure out more of the strings and fingerings for our songs, and your homework was to basically figure out the strings and fingerings for all of the songs. So now you should have the strings and fingerings written down for the entire page, and it should kind of look like this. Let's review. Let me pull it up here so you guys can see better. Here are the strings and fingerings for Twinkle. You can pause the video here and just make sure that yours are correct. And here is Are You Sleeping? Same thing, just pause the video, make sure yours are correct. And here's London Bridge. Same thing, you can just pause the video and make sure it's correct. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to play through it with you guys, for you guys. You could play along and make sure that you can keep up. If you can keep up, you have practiced and played all your notes correctly and done your homework well. Let me grab my cello here. All right, so here we go. Here is Twinkle. Do the wrong note. Key was in there for a second, but that's Twinkle. Let's move on to Are You Sleeping? So Are You Sleeping? You can play along with me here. And lastly, London Bridge. So if you kept up, that means you've done your homework well. The other thing we did last week is we set up our bow hand and we did some hobo exercises. And so if you did that well, you are now ready to start playing some of our notes with the bow. Hopefully you've been doing your bow hand exercises and just watching your bow is straight, that your contact point is good between the bridge and the fingerboard. So basically you have done all the steps separately to play, for example, our C major scale. You've played whole bows on every string. You've practiced plucking every note. So today we're going to put it together. Let me tilt my camera down so you guys can see the cello a little better. There we go. There we go. Okay. So you're going to get set up. Make sure your posture's good, nice and tall. Your cello's set up well. Make sure you grab your bow properly and set your thumb and pinky in the right place. And then you're going to set your bow on the string, obviously on the C string, because you're going to start with C0. And double check that your thumb is round and your pinky is round before you start. And basically I want to make sure that you guys do whole bows all the time, every time. So you're going to start from the frog, do a whole bow, and pause. Put down your first finger and another whole bow. And pause. Put down your finger, another whole bow. And then C4. You carefully cross over to the G string. And then G1. And so on. So you notice I'm making sure that on every single bow I go absolutely frog to tip. It's very important. I also make sure that before I play any note, my finger is set in the right place. I'm not rushing. I'm making sure everything looks good before I move on to the next note. That's something I want all you guys to do, whether you're playing your scale or the Mary Had Little Lamb. Think first, place the right things, and then make your sound. Don't make your sound and hope it all works out well and then correct it later. That's not a good recipe for success. So once you've gotten through your scale, you can kind of continue all the way to the top and then back down. If you've learned your scale well, you can move on to the nursery rhymes. So for our songs, there's one important rule while we learn the songs. When you are playing with the bow, you may only use long whole bows. When you're plucking, you can play with the rhythm. You can play 1 beat notes and 2 beat notes and eighth notes for Are You Sleeping? But when you're using the whole bows only. Okay, so let's say you learn Mary Had Little Lamb really well, and now you're ready to actually play it with the bow. It should sound like this when you're practicing. So you'll notice I'm not playing slower or faster notes. I'm just playing whole bows. And it almost doesn't sound like the song. Like it actually just sounds like whole bows with the notes from Mary Had Little Lamb. And that's what it should sound like. Because if there are two things that I would say I notice in most beginners, one is that, poor posture. And that really does affect how you play. And the other is that they use about this much bow in the middle of their bow. And it ends up, first of all, looking like this. Slouched over, or it sounds like this. This is what I hear from many, many, many beginners. So what's much more important than playing all the notes in the song or, the rhythm or it sounding like the song is just using the songs to learn those whole bows. That is absolutely crucial importance. So I go from the frog underneath the metal guard all the way to the tip. Don't go so far that it slides off the string, but just within an inch of the tip, definitely within an inch. And so you can work through all the songs that way. Set my cello down here. And your assignment will be to learn all the songs with the bow. But just keep in mind, make sure you can pluck them well first. And always, always, always use your whole bow. So let's jot down our homework assignment here. Change it for this week. So first off, I want you guys to all still do your plucking. So do all plucking first. Oh, that's not how you spell it. Pluck your scale, pluck your songs. This just helps warm up your left hand. Next, I want you to do your whole bow exercises. This is absolutely important because this is the only time you will be worried only about your bow hand. The whole rest of the time you're going to have to work on your left hand and your right hand simultaneously, which means it'll be hard to do them both well. So these are your whole bow exercises. Warms up your bow hand. Then you will do your scale with bow. You'll do that 3 times, and then you will do your songs 3 times each. Okay. Don't go on to a new song unless you've learned the previous one with the bow really well. Don't even start it with the bow if you don't know the left hand really well. If you follow this, you should be able to get through all these songs. A couple notes on what's coming up next. We will learn rhythm with the bow because it involves bow distribution on the Bach minuet, which we'll be getting to in a couple lessons. So in order to do that, what I like to see is I like to see any student be able to play through all 4 songs in a row without putting down your instrument or your bow, just to show that you have the stamina to do it. Because as you see, each song is like 2 or 3 lines long, but the Bach minuet is like an entire page. So we definitely don't want to be struggling through the things in our Bach minuet while we still can't play the songs. So, the best thing you can do to get ready for that is learn each song individually really well. Don't start practicing them all through. Just learn each song well. So then the other thing is you probably are still making unpleasant sounds, on your instrument, a crunch every now and then, a hiss. We will learn all about how to make excellent sound and all the different things that control your sound at the next lesson. So not this lesson, next lesson. For now, keep that bow between the bridge and the fingerboard. Don't let it go too close to the bridge or too high up on the fingerboard. Keep it straight. Just have like a nice balanced, gentle touch. Don't press down too hard. Don't go too light. And use your intuition. You'll find the best sound, but next week you'll have a good grasp of how to make great sound. So that's it. That's your homework. Keep working on it. Happy practicing, and then I will see you guys at next time at lesson 5.